So this is a bleak old story, and it feels a little bit like a tick box, must do a parallel Earth story, which, with hindsight, I'm sure we've got the list somewhere, haven't we, of RTD's initial ideas. And whether or not this was on Series 1 and got bumped to Series 2 or not, I can't remember. But by the by, doing a parallel Earth story was a no-brainer, really. Especially since the last one we did. Can you remember the last parallel Earth story we've done? Let you have a little think about that. Thank you for my emojis that you just sent me. But this is done spectacularly well. Now, I don't know how much Tom McRae wrote it, but we all know that RTD was heavily involved in rewrites of the scripts that outside people did, apart from Moffat's. So if I accidentally say RTD, I apologise. But the issue with talking about the individual episodes is that one of the major differences now is that we have these little arcs that go from story to story. And of course, this is seemingly the end of the Mickey Smith little arc. And I have to say, Noel Clarke is a fairly problematic character these days. But even at the time, I was unsure about his performance as Mickey. And I genuinely felt he got better. But he does pull something out in this story. I have to say, I'm not entirely sure about his performance as Ricky. Because his performance as Ricky seems to consist of him going like that to indicate that he's not Mickey. But there is something very heartwarming about the way that at the end of the story in particular, he manages to capture that sort of, I was going to unfairly say uselessness of Mickey, and that's not the case, although that's one of his given. Yeah, but he's not. He's not quite companion material, but he's a good lad who wants to do his best, and he does do his best.
It's basic.
Fair enough. That's an interpretation. I think that's unfair. But I do think that by the end of this story, you feel there's a completeness to his adventure. And it's actually very moving when the Doctor says goodbye to him, and you feel that his relationship with Tennant is obviously better than the one with Eccleston, even though it's the same Doctor, and therefore, that has grown and developed, and that's nice. But it's very effective when Rose says goodbye, and you get the sense from Billie Piper's performance, and never let it be forgotten that Billie Piper is phenomenal. You get that real sense of regret and guilt and sadness, and that sort of
just the complexity of it all, isn't it? Like Mum's in this world, but Dad's in that world, and I never got to experience that.
Yeah,
it's what you have versus what you could have. It's the old bird in the hand.
And I think that there's a maturity of relationships and emotions in New Who, which is one of the massive changes. The fact that you can have complicated relationships, the fact that you can have multiple complicated relationships at the same time, every different ilk, throw time and space into that, and all sorts of chaos ensues. The whole dystopia vibe of these two episodes, I think, alongside the Parallel Earth vibe, which is really well done, I have to say. Really, really well. I have a false memory. I am sure that I've convinced myself, whether this was an RTDism or a deleted scene, I'm absolutely convinced that at some point I've read or seen a scene where Jake and Mickey are in the van at the end, and Jake lets on that he and Ricky were lovers, were boyfriends. And I was convinced that was going to happen, and it didn't happen. So anybody in the comments below, that's what YouTubers do, isn't it? In the comments below, please tell me if I've just made that up.
I've just Googled it.
Yeah?
There's a deleted scene.
There you go. So that's that deleted scene, which I think is charming, but there we go. The whole dystopia thing I think is done very well. Why is it about Zeppelins? It immediately evokes the Third Reich and fascism and stuff like that. And there is a sort of...
Nazi feeling.
Yeah, there's a 1940s German decadism to this. Decadism? That sounds wrong now I've said it. It's a 10-sided good time. I'm going to use that joke again. But there is that sort of groove to it. I really like that. So it ends up feeling a bit V for Vendetta. I've not seen the film, but the book's marvellous. You should go and read it all. Now,
Marvel. Sorry.
V for Vendetta's not Marvel.
No, I'm saying it could be though. If you made it.
It's Alan Moore. That's fine. I think it's Dark Horse Comics. That's fine. Might not be. But the whole twist on things. I flipping love that, and it allows you to explore Mickey and his grandma, which is just flipping heartbreaking when he looks at the stair. Oh my God, you can't knock that performance.
It got me,
Beautiful that bit. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely love it. And as Libba suggested, the whole Pete and Jackie and this, that, and the other. Absolutely brilliant.
Really emotional.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me recently?
Well, I think it just because we're attached to these characters. You know, we're attached to Jackie.
Attached to anybody.
You love Jackie.
I love Jackie.
You love Jackie, and it's quite hard on the soul seeing mean Jackie. Don't like mean Jackie. Well, I know. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. So all that's absolutely fantastic, and it's a good thriller. I've got.
It was scary when he was frightened.
Proper scary, and let's add to the rank of great Doctor Who companions who never were. What was her name? Mrs. Moore. Oh my gosh! Because I knew she was going to bite it. Spoilers. I knew she was going to bite it, but I'd forgotten what a cracking character she is. Really, really, that got me. And you could tell it got the Doctor as well, because he really formed an attachment to this person. And, flipping loved that.
I think the Doctor was really in the background in this story.
Do you think part of that's because he's in his tuxedo?
I don't know, maybe.
Anyway, sorry, you were saying.
He's obviously conducting what's going on to a certain extent, but Mickey got to shine and be a hero. Rose had all the emotional, burden in that one. It was nice to see Pete Tyler doing some lovely acting as well. And Trigger, can't you?
Well, I'm going to come back to him. It felt like a proper thriller to me. A proper thriller. And
It wasn't just the Doctor show, for sure.
No, it wasn't. And I do think him not being in his suit contributes to that. I think it makes you feel uncomfortable. And honestly, we'll get to this in a million years' time. I wish Shooty would stay in his costume for more than one story at a time. I know that some people are really into that.
I wish he'd just take it off more.
Behave. There's a familiarity with the Doctor, how they dress, and it means something to me. I'm emotionally stunted or something, but there's certain signifiers, and Tennant not being in his costume it affects me in a weird way. Anyway, there we go. Yes, you mentioned Trigger. Get off.
Sorry.
Roger Lloyd. Roger Lloyd, I can't remember his name.
Do you want to find out?
Please, because I'm going to slag him off now. I cannot buy into him as Loomet. It is the weak.
Roger Lloyd Pack.
It is the weak aspect of this episode above all. I know, other opinions are available here. I cannot buy into it, and I don't think it's because he's Trigger, because I'm not that childish. But there is something about the way he delivers that part that does not chime with me at all. And the only parts that really work with me is his henchman dude, whose name escapes me now, who I flipping love, is absolutely brilliant. When he plays The Lion Sleeps Tonight, which is horrific and all that. I like that, but it lets the episode down in my eyes. In a episode of great performances, the President is brilliant, Jackie and Pete are brilliant. 50% of the time, I think Noel Clarke does a good job in this, and Tennant and Piper obviously immaculate, and Jake as well. Love Jake. What a ledge! What a ledge!
Yeah, he's a good little actor. He's got a lovely, cute face.
Yeah, I like that, and he proper angry, and Miss Moore, of course. But anyway, I'm sorry about that if you're a Ollie Falls fan and you love Trigger and Roger Lloyd Pack, but I just can't buy into it. I can't buy into it, and it just doesn't work for me. It's a shame. There are many other actors I'd rather have had that role. But there we go. I am sorry. I am sorry to you. Now, before we finish, this is a two-part episode, so I have lots to say. Two-part story. I love what the production team in general have done with the Cybermen here. I absolutely love it because long-time viewers of the Whoathon may know, and I can't remember how overt we've been about this, but I think generally Cybermen are a bit rubbish. I really think they're the most overrated baddie in all of the Who. And apart from their first story, they've never been particularly scary, I don't think. With exceptions. Tombs is great. Invasion is great. But, there's too many duds. Even Earthshock, I think they could be just generic anythings. Earthshock doesn't get its power from the Cybermen. But I love these Cybermen. I love these Cybermen. They make the point of the fact that they're all homogenous. So, and that's one of the frightening things. Humanity has been taken away. We re-explore that idea, which gave them their potency in the first place. But moreover than that, two things. This idea of upgrading, this idea of taking your humanity and dissipating it out. I am currently recording this on mobile phone. My magnificent wife is currently looking at mobile phone. I hate mobile phones. I wish we'd never bothered. I despise it. I despise the fact that these days it's more socially acceptable to look at your mobile phone than it is to read a book. And that embarrasses me about my species, quite frankly. Anyway, there's my little personal rant.
I disagree. I want it to be known.
I wish we'd never bothered. The other thing, though, I must say this. I love the notion, I've just been discussing this with Winnie, that cyberness is a logical endpoint for humanoid species. Because all of a sudden it takes out Mondas, telos, nonsense, and we can just get down to the fact that if you succumb to this technological temptation, you could end up there. That has returned, for the time being at least, the frightening element of Cybermen in my eyes. I really genuinely think that was a really smart move, and the evoking of Apple and technology and all that kind of thing. It's a different twist on the cyber mythos, but it really works for me. And honestly, for another brief period, the essential terror, horror, fright of Cybermen is restored to them. And, you know, all those dreadful scenes, dreadful as in, of cyber conversion, which is where the true horror of Cybermen lie, isn't it? It's not the delete crap, it's the fact that you become them. That was absolutely brilliant. And when you realise it's Jackie, oh my God, love it. Anyway, I've spoken a long time. This is a brilliant, you see, this season, there is something different about this season. The TARDIS team, the fact it's not Eccleston and Rose, there was a tension, a good tension. But this team's very united, even with Mickey there, and it's a different... I love it. And I've forgotten the quality of the stories, thus far at least. Idiot's Lantern next. Not seen it for a long, long, long time. Be interesting to see that one again. But yeah, flipping love this story. Brilliant.